in all of the universe. This is still 3 FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Let's come back in studio. And let's get talking. Dr. Samuel Aye is a presidential spokesperson and he joins me this morning. Doc, tell us exactly.
Presidential aid.
Presidential aid for government communications. Noted, Doc. Good to see you this morning. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm good. Good morning to our listeners and our viewers on Facebook and your good self.
Certainly. I hope you've been eating well, eating your fruits and vegetables. We're on that campaign very heavily.
Yes.
Because we know that there's a rise in non-communicable diseases. We're getting very sick as a people.
Yeah.
What are we doing wrong, Doc?
Yeah, I think that over the years, lifestyle have changed to Western lifestyle. Our usual contumely, our usual lettuce, our usual dawa, and banana, pineapple, and the other fruit that many years ago were the major source of nutrients for us. It does appear that because of urbanization, because of shift in, our work, white collar jobs, which necessarily will not give you the opportunity to have time to eat healthily. Most of the time we go to work, we order food. Is that not it?
As for this place, the delivery drivers,
but
in and out.
I understand. So it does not afford us the opportunity to eat the way we want to, and I am a victim of it, definitely. So it has exposed us to many conditions which ordinarily were not the case many years ago. Now we are struggling with diabetes, we are struggling with hypertension. All of these have lifestyle changes predisposition because it increases your cardiovascular risk. You build a lot of fat in your system and what have you, which have one way or the other a connection to getting all those metabolic syndromes,
right?
Diabetes, hypertension, kidney disease, and what have you. So the need for far-reaching education to the public cannot be overestimated. For me, I'm happy that only a few months ago, His Excellency the President launched the Mahama Cares initiative, which basically seeks to fund these non-communicable diseases, because when we were setting up the National Health Insurance Scheme, we did not really factor in the funding and treatment of these diseases. Now they contribute about 45% of mortalities in Ghana.
45%
of mortalities in Ghana.
Very interesting.
A lot of people are dying from hypertensive emergencies, like heart attacks in normal balance, heart attacks. People are getting stroke. People are getting acute kidney injuries.
And these are younger and younger individuals.
Yes, exactly.
The age is scary.
Exactly. And so when that project or initiative was launched by His Excellency the President, I particularly was elated because of my profession as a medical doctor. I have a first-hand experience of some of these things. And so we are looking forward that going forward, we'll get enough funding for the program so that these matters can be looked at. And most of the time when people are diagnosed with conditions like this, in some areas it becomes a death sentence because it is not easy to fund medications that are needed to treat hypertension and diabetes effectively.
Right.
They are quite expensive. Some of them range between 2,000 Ghana cedis a month. How many people can save 2,000 Ghana cedis a month to buy medications?
Right.
That is only the medications. What about those who have been diagnosed with end-stage renal diseases or maybe second or third stage renal diseases? How are they going to do their dialysis? You understand the point I'm making? Of course, dialysis is done when people are in their end stages. You understand the point? You will be spending about 6,000 Ghana cedis to 8,000 Ghana cedis a month.
Every single month?
Yes. How many people can fund it?
Right.
So when these diagnoses are made, it becomes a death sentence. So I am gratified that at least some measures are being put in place by government to absorb significant portions of the cost needed to treat these diseases.
Very instrumental that you mentioned the National Health Insurance vis-a-vis the Mahama Cares initiative, because on the floor of Parliament yesterday that was being debated, and I was listening to members of the minority sort of question why we even need to bring in this initiative given what we have as far as the National Health scheme is concerned. But again, the element is the non-communicable diseases and how much that has taken over the health space. So very, very good. In fact, on Monday we have to get Doc here. On Monday we like to talk health, we can talk about it, the health aspect, and then maybe the political aspect, because you found a way to marry the two effectively. Now, we were just talking to the UTAG president. I'll pick your thoughts very quickly, and then we'll get into the National Cathedral. We're talking about fruits and vegetables and all of that, and how we become so urbanized. Another leg of the conversation is also how do we trust what it is that we're eating these days, because of the levels of chemicals that we have in the soil and so on and so forth. UTAG says that they recognize that some measures are being taken, but they want to see an escalation. What do you make of that? They say in due course they'll be explaining what actions they'll take.
Yes, of course. I think that it is a call that all of us agree with, and to the extent that it saves this country, to the extent that the call will lead to significant improvements in the fight against Galamsey, we cannot help but to support the call by UTAG. In fact, we supported it in opposition. We still support it in government. And I want to commend UTAG for their consistency. We commend them for their love for the country, and for always updating the country and trying to prick the memory of His Excellency the President on the commitment that he made in opposition. The President is still committed to the fight against Galamsey. Indeed, only 2 weeks ago, he held a high-level meeting between himself, Attorney General, Defense Minister, Lands and Natural Resources Minister, and other key ministers to give a stern directive that regardless of who you are in this government, regardless of who you are to him, as a friend, as a brother, you cannot engage in illegal mining. And that if you are found to engage in illegal mining, the necessary measures against you should be kicked, and nobody should call him for any intervention. Indeed, that had been corroborated by the Attorney General directive to Yoko to investigate some senior party officials of the National Democratic Congress. That is not to say they are indeed guilty, except that when allegations are made, a listening and an honest government will put in place the necessary steps to investigate it. I am not in a position to give an account on whether they are guilty or not. I think that will be unraveled by the investigations by Yoko. But it speaks to the president's commitment to the fight against Galamsey. If his party members are accused to be engaged in that, and he takes steps to investigate, what will happen to other people? There's a saying that if a man plucks feathers from a tortoise, what will he do when he lays hands on a fowl? If he puts in place steps to investigate his party members, what will he do to ordinary people who are not even related in any way to the president? But you see, since we came, significant measures have been put in place. As we speak, over 550 people have been arrested for Galamsey and Galamsey-related activities. Over 246 excavators have been seized. And these are excavators that have been seized and they have not gone missing like it happened only a few years.
They're all accounted for?
Yes, they are all accounted for in the custody of the police. Indeed, as I speak, over 2,000 excavators have been impounded at the ports, which were imported into the country. They have been impounded. You understand? There are many on the sea coming, but because of the measures we are putting in place, most of them have started diverting it to other countries. They've
gotten wind that there's zero tolerance at the port.
Exactly. So it is an achievement that we must recount. Indeed, His Excellency the President has also taken steps to amend LI 2462. And it is important that we put clarity on this matter. The LI 2462 was for environmental protection or to regulate mining in forest reserves. Indeed, that LI 2462 works in conjunction with about 13 other laws that regulate mining in this country and in forest reserves.
Are you suggesting that government's hands are tied because of this?
You see, what happens is that the LI regulates mining in forest reserves. When you scrap this LI or you repeal this LI, you are invariably saying that there will be no regulation of mining in forest reserves. People can just go and have a free day or have a field day to mine in our forest reserves any way they want. And so we accept the course, we agree with the course by civil society and other people for the whole LI to be completely repealed. But when we repeal it, what it means is that there will be no regulation. We have a duty to be responsible as a government. As we speak, there are heavy mining companies that have been given legal concessions in forest reserves.
And you say to now extract yourself from those agreements, it's a whole different ballgame.
It's a whole different ballgame. It means that billions, if not trillions of dollars will have to be given to the company because they have already paid us to be given those concessions. But you see, what do we seek to achieve? What we seek to achieve is to regulate mining and to prevent illegal mining. Now, the law, the difficulty people had with the law was that the law gave the president the power to grant leases in forest reserves. Now, His Excellency the President John Dramani Mahama has amended that part of the law. So now the president does not have the power to even grant leases in forest reserves anymore. So one, we are achieving the results of reducing mining in forest reserves because the president will not have any power to do that again until when the leases that have already been given many years ago expires. The president does not have any power to do that. So it achieves two purposes. One, it is regulating mining in forest reserves. Two, it is preventing His Excellency the President for giving more mining leases in forest reserves. And so I think that many people have been overly enthusiastic about, the call to regulate mining, which is legitimate because of the ravages Galamsey or illegal mining activities have done.
Indeed.
In fact, when you're on a flight and you look down, the devastation that have happened is not one that we can write home about. And so this government agrees with the call that have been made and have put measures in place. Indeed, as we speak, all mining leases that were hurriedly given after December 7th to some people who I know are related to the previous government because they wanted them to also be part of the whole scheme have been revoked. And they are not allowed and they are not permitted to go there because their licenses have been revoked. That is a sign of a government that is committed. As we speak, no mining lease, whether large-scale mining or small-scale mining, has been given to any company. As we speak, we have not given one.
Not a single one.
Not a single one has been given since we came. Because we believe that a lot of damage has been done over the years and we need to review it, we need to recheck it and make sure the proper things are done. As we speak, we have set up NIMOS, National Anti-Illegal Mining Operation Secretariat, which is made up of the various security forces, the police, military, and what have you, national security operatives, to coordinate the fight against Galamsey. But you see, the difference is that over the years, there have not been significant commitments to the fight against Galamsey in terms of governmental commitment.
Right.
You understand? That kind of commitment I see in the president. Of course, over the years, these activities have been done for so many years. The ravages that they have caused have existed for so many years. And so, even if the president is working at the pace or the speed of light, it is normal that there will be some difficulties, and the result that we expect to see within these few months, many people will not appreciate, just like UTAG has said. UTAG has said that even though they see some commitment and some improvement in the fight against Galamsey. They are not seeing what they are expecting to see,
Indeed.
which is a legitimate call, and government agrees with it. You understand the point? But we have to also look at what His Excellency the President is doing, the commitment he has made. In fact, he has even banned his political appointees from even engaging in mining, to even come to talk of illegal mining.
So none of that, so community mining schemes, none of that, they're not permitted to do.
Community mining scheme, as we speak, has been.
It's been scrapped.
It's been scrapped.
Right.
What I've heard is that there are some plans to engage in corporate mining. Corporate legal mining. I'm sure the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry will brief the country tomorrow at the Government Accountability Series at the Jubilee House. So more light will be shed on it so that we know the way forward. But there are some people who have also made some calls about state of emergency. Indeed, when we were in opposition, the president categorically didn't take any position on state of emergency. The calls are legitimate. People are saying that we should declare state of emergency.
Because this is not a sweeping measure. It's targeted. UTAG says targeted.
No problem. My understanding of state of emergency is that people should engage in shoot and kill. That is my understanding. Maybe Doc here will give a further explanation to it. That's my understanding of it. I don't think that we have reached that far. Even people who are caught of direct murder, people who murder people, are given a fair trial in court to explain themselves. I don't think that we should exact instant justice to people who are found to be engaging in Galamsey. And so for me, we agree with the call, but I don't think, personally, I don't think that that's the right thing to do presently. When you kill the person, does it mean that the Galamsey has ended? No. You understand the point?
Doc.
So to what end are we seeking to achieve with this particular intervention?
All right, Doc, thank you so much for your thoughts on that. That's not our main focus, but I thought I'd pick your thoughts as we had just spoken with the UTAG president. We're getting on to our main topic, which has to do with the National Cathedral. We're joined in studio by James Kwabena Bomfe, former CPP General Secretary. Sir, good morning. Hope you're doing well.
Good morning, I'm well.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Nice being in your studio.
Nice having you here.
We thank God for the day.
How do you keep busy these days?
I work. Okay. I go to work. So, I don't
That's
know,
about it.
Like you are busy working. I'm either in my campus teaching or working on academic staff or in my private office doing what is required of me and for God and country, and that's what's important.
Most certainly.
I you see, I don't know, but there are a number of things that both of you were saying on this illegal mining. When we talk about illegal mining, I think that we must all appreciate that what we are seeing today in terms of our water bodies that have turned color, the high presence of metallic substances in human systems around the mining communities and even within the entire nation outside the mining communities, from interaction and the food that we eat, the water that we drink. Don't forget that the Ghana Water Company had to import more materials and more equipment and had to even at a point shut down because of the high presence of unwholesome substances in the water that they had to process.
That's right.
Fauna and flora that have responded, and then you talk about health-related issues. The Ethical and Health Committee of the Ghana Health Service conducted a study, I think sometime in 2017. I'm not sure. My civil society organization was invited to the launch of the project. Women having challenges with their sexual reproductive system.
That's right.
Men running impotent. Children with disability being born as a result of this, losing vital parts or organisms organs of the body, and so on and so forth. These are all responses of nature to years of impunity and present, cynicism and despondency in doing right. It's a legacy problem, but it has to do with what we are also doing. And it won't take sensational talk. And that is why, especially in 2024, the much talk and the heated argument on media platforms, bodies such as professional bodies giving ultimatums, this or that. You see, immediately after election, they all ceased. We made it a regime change agenda.
UTAG is back in the press.
Hold on. How and what? And what is he saying? The point I'm making is that it is not enough to be sensational about it. The problem is deep and ingrained. We need to take our time and dig deeper into it. Now, the question I want to pose is that what is the verdict of the people of this country on the, outcomes or proceeds of the activities of illegal mining? Is it one of abhorrence or is one of acceptance? Is it one of welcome news or one of a rejection? You cannot abhor pork and relish pork soup. But that is what we are doing. And that's what we seem to be doing. The first point of call in illegal mining, you target the wrong people. You are saying small-scale miners and people without license. What about the big mining companies with licenses who are abusing and breaching the terms of their contract? Is that not illegal? So that's where we must start from. Now, the legal regime in Ghana, I have done a thorough study on that. It is at best a colonial relic, backward, insensitive, and unsustainable. What do I mean? I own land. In Ghana, the land law is clear that ownership of land is with individuals, families, or stools. The state owns no land. The state can acquire. And that is why when the state acquires land, it pays compensation to the owners.
Indeed.
Right? In 1897, when the Crown Land Bill was introduced by the British who were operating here to forcibly take over our lands like they did in Southern Africa or South Africa, East Africa, and elsewhere. And our people objected or rejected that, which was when the Aborigines Right Protection Society, there were Aborigines Right Protection Societies globally or in other places. In our country, when the Aborigines Right Protection Society came to the fore, with John Mensah Saba as one of the leading lights, came here to Accra, appeared before the Legislative Council to make a case against what they were doing. The British pulled back the Crown Land Bill. It was defeated. But it was not only Ghanaians. There were expatriates who had concessions. So back in the UK, whilst our people were working here and we sent a delegation to the UK to meet the Secretary of the Colonies, there were agitations there by white owners of concessions here in Ghana. Whilst at it, they said, if we are withdrawing, now we are introducing that if you find a mineral in any part of the land and you want to exploit or mine it, you need permission from the state. That's where the whole thing began. Then subsequently, we made our laws say that if you find a mineral in any part of this geographical space, whether in the sea, whether on underwater bodies or in the land, that mineral doesn't belong to the owners of the land. It belongs to the state. 1962, when you read L.K. Agbosu, his PhD thesis at the time, about 495 pages, did a thorough research on this. So now the argument shifted that the mineral now belongs to the state and is held in trust for and on behalf of the people by the president. Fast forward, 1992 Constitution, Article 257, Clause 6, says that when a mineral is found anywhere in this country, it belongs to the Republic of Ghana and vested in the president, who holds it in trust for and on behalf of the people. So the state can enter it forcibly and take it. And what has been the experience? The state does not go there to exploit it, assigns or gives concession to multinational companies, as we have seen. Now, some Ghanaian small-scale miners or private entities have come up.
That's right.
They go in with permit from the state in the name of the president that we have a right to come and mine here. And so you have to move out of this place. So we have dislocated communities, farms, and so on and so forth. And what the law says is that if you go to the Minerals and Mining Act 2006 at 703, Section 1, you move further to Section 7 or so, it says that you must pay them prompt and adequate compensation. We don't even pay adequate compensation, let alone pay it promptly. So you deny the people their source of livelihood on which that mineral, under which that mineral is found. You deny them of ownership. But when it comes to the exploitation of the mineral, the destruction of the land, their water bodies, and what you can't do mining without water. The destruction of their water bodies, contamination of the air around them, plus the associated economic rise or hype. Anywhere you go and there's mining activity, prostitution is very high there. The cost of food and items are very high there. The cost of rent,
very high.
You can go and check. Studies have been done on this. And there's crime rate on the rise because of the huge influx of people who go in there from outside. Values are attacked. Culture is decimated. So you deny the people all these things. And yet when it comes to ownership, you say it belongs to everybody in Ghana. But only they suffer the brunt of the exploitation of that mineral. That colonial relic must change. If you don't change it, the people, no matter what you do, the hurt and the injustice that they suffer, they will find other means to make up. And let me say this perhaps to conclude my prelude. There's an aspect that people are not even paying attention to. The possibility of warlords.
Warlords?
Yes. Have you heard about Blood Diamond? It's a movie.
Indeed. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio and some other...
Where was it cast? What story was it capturing?
Where was
Sierra
it
Leone.
actually? Sierra Leone.
Charles Taylor, Fode Sanko and others. Diamonds. And that's how they began. And Charles Taylor, his rise had to do with these mineral associated, all these things. Recently you heard in Congo, DRC, Zaire. What is happening there?
A lot of turmoil. They've got
mineral-related issues and warlords. Now, what have we seen? When our military and police go to these places, what have we been told? That some of them exchange gunfire. Where are they getting it from? They are arming themselves.
That's right.
So, my dear, that's why the conversation about the illegal mining thing is deeper than getting sensational about it. And look, the president has capitulated together with his party. You were making it mild. They've capitulated on a number of things they said. But for me, that's not the reason why I will throw my hands in despair. We need to support and push the president to lead us in finding solutions. I think that he has the capacity. Once the will is there, we can push through and sanitize the system. There are 4 licenses involved in the mining sector. The first is a reconnaissance license where you can go and explore. You are not supposed to mine with that. You have an exploratory license, which allows you to go into finding out the quantum that is in the system. Then you have got an environmental permit, which will be done by the EPA, the Environmental Protection Authority, based on an assessment of what impact mining would have on the land and the vicinity within which you're operating. You are not supposed to mine within a certain range to water bodies and to forests and so on and so forth. Then you have got the final mining lease. There are people who are mining with reconnaissance license, mining with exploratory license, mining with environmental permit without mining lease. All these constitute illegal mining, even if they are legitimately registered. So, my dear, the issues are deeper than reducing them to ephemeral and, if you like, sensational talk. It is, let's blame this person didn't do that. We've gone past that stage.
Certainly.
We need to pull all of us together and know that no one person alone can do it. We need our chiefs, we need our people, and we need our security agencies. But above all, we need the political will.
Absolutely. Mr. Bonfe, thank you for that preamble. Let me say good morning and a warm welcome to Dr. Ramsey Inusa. He is a member, Movement for Change. Doc, long time no see. In fact, I haven't seen you this year. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Helen. Happy New Year to you.
It's good to see you.
Yes. I'm here by chance. Yesterday, I met Sisus on my way out from Onya, and it was like, hey, Doc, we need you here tomorrow to come and speak on matters that are very important to the nation. So let me say a good morning to your team here at 3FM. You're doing a great job. Just
Thank you.
Miss you guys. We need to really bring back that good cordial relationship we had during the election period. Let me say a good morning to my senior brother from the CPP.
I'm not from the CPP.
Okay. I saw. Okay.
I think on the flyer you saw former.
Former.
Yes, you saw former.
I don't like this.
Yes.
Reading about with former.
Please get closer to the microphone for me.
Okay.
I please.
Anyway, so let me retract that.
No, it's not about retraction. I'm just saying that I'm not.
But I saw it on the.
I'm not with the CPP. I quit CPP in 2020.
Okay, apologies.
I haven't seen the flyer.
Okay.
So you were introducing me. I was surprised. You were introducing me with credentials that I was wondering.
Noted and updated. Noted and updated.
I took the data from the media, so.
Not a problem, Doc. But it is good good to see. Today you didn't come with your yellow Bible, or you've got the digital. Okay, all right, most certainly.
Always with me here.
All right, okay. Well, let's get into the meat of the matter. We're talking about the National Cathedral, and in the last few days there have been some updates on this particular issue. An audit report now made public by the government. Deloitte undertook that particular audit report. Now, interestingly, this morning I was reading in the New Republic newspaper, and they capture this story on page 5. I'll read a little bit of it to set the foundation for the conversation. Now, the story is as follows. It seems Ghana's National Cathedral isn't just a monument to faith, it's a monument to financial malfeasance. A recent audit report has unearthed a trail of shady transactions that cast a long shadow over the project, with former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo at the center of the storm. The revelation is stark and simple. The government, through the Ministry of Finance, shelling out a stunning 15.7 million Ghana cedis to Sir David Ajay and Associates Limited before a single contract was signed. Now, this wasn't a clerical error. It was a year-long series of payments made between September 2018 and June 2019, while the government agreement waited in limbo until August 2019. The result, a blatant disregard for procurement protocols and a gaping hole in public trust. Now, the audit breakdown reads like a cautionary tale. It starts on September 26, 2018 with a 4.1 million Ghana cedi payment for schematic design. A week later, another 1.75 million Ghana cedis followed. By May 2019, the payments had ballooned with some 8.2 million Ghana cedi payout, followed by 2 more in June, totaling 1.6 million Ghana cedis and some 88,750 Ghana cedis. All of this was sent before the paperwork was even in place. The story goes on and on and on, and many of you have been talking about this particular saga. Doc, I've got 2 docs in the studio. Dr. Ramsey, you haven't spoken as yet. Let me kick things off with you on this National Cathedral saga. Now we have some more revelations. The figure has gone up from some $58 million. Now it's been reported that the value of what we see on the ground now is 97 million Ghana cedis. Your initial reaction?
Yes, Helen, you know, when you have a country that is led by a clueless leader, a visionless leader, a leader that does not have the fear of God in him and does not care about the progress of his people, we would be faced with such repugnant uses of public funds or wastage of public funds. Helen, as I speak to you today in Ghana, we have more than 5,400 schools that are under trees, especially in the northern sectors of our country. And there's a report by the UN that says that it will take about 300 years for Ghana to eradicate schools under trees. When you look at the Christian faith, the Islamic faith, another faith in our country, they do not have a deficit when it comes to their places of worship. I do not recall the Christians coming out to tell the executive that, look, can you help us with money to build a church? Or the Muslims, can you help us with money to build a mosque? After all, we, the Muslims in this country, we have a national mosque in Kanda, which was built by the Turkish NGO and foundation with other Islamic leaders in this country. We thought that if a president is Christian, and I'm not trying to play politics with religion here, that he could have used his networks and influence. Indeed, he even promised the people of Ghana that he was going to build this cathedral without touching the public purse. That was the main promise he gave to the people of Ghana, that he was not going to touch the funds of the people, but he was going to mobilize.
He said that would be something small, some seed money, provision of land.
No, his initial promise was that he was not going to touch the public purse. That was the initial promise. And that because of the victory he got, and the fact that the people of Ghana rallied behind him, he was going to build a cathedral, right, to celebrate his victory and to also thank God. And that was a promise he gave to the people and he gave to God. Unfortunately, in the history of Africa, we have a first time, Helen, that a president has been able to scam God. This is the first time in the history of Africa that a president, a sitting president, looked in the eyes or looked in the sky and scammed God.
When you say scammed God?
Helen, if I tell you that, Helen, if you give me a hug, right, by Friday, I'll get you a nice, beautiful Apple Watch. So today you gave me a hug, and then it got to Friday. You didn't see any watch. You called me, I wasn't picking. Haven't I scammed you? Have I fulfilled my promise?
Maybe you stumbled along the way.
But I didn't tell you that. Helen, I didn't tell you that. I didn't give you any sensible, concrete reason why. And so, Akufo-Addo's regime and Bawumia's regime was the worst in our country's history. That monies that could have been used to safeguard a lot of issues in our country, for example, education, health. Today, the Agenda 111 projects are sitting down there rotting. I'm not sure they've been able to even complete 10 or even 20 of them. Right? Look at the ratio of nurses to patients in this country, doctors to patients in this country. Yet still, you go and spend such an amount of money just to build a hole. And I've heard from various surveyors, engineers, right, erudites and constructions. They have told me that the monies that were used for that project till date does not really show its true output. The total investment that was made on the National Cathedral today, by now we should have seen some form of structural foundation. We don't see that. We only see holes. So are you telling me that, Helen, that's $98 million, right? It's just meant to build holes. I mean, come on.
What would you like to see happen? I mean, we've lamented, we've gone over the figures. We now have a report that is listing a myriad of infractions. Let's project into the future. What would you like to see happen as far as this report is concerned? If there are further findings of wrongdoing,
okay,
the names of said persons are made public. We know that this person said this, but actually X is what happened. And so what would you like to see happen?
Great. So I'm sure you've seen the discrepancies in their narrative and then that of the findings from Deloitte's audit report, right? The board members that were part of this whole saga should be brought to books. Number two, the procurement aspect did not go through the PPA. It didn't go through the Public Procurement Authority. And you know, we have acts as to how government business is being done as far as procurement is concerned. And so we need to also punish those that fail to uphold to the PPA Act.
Right.
Thirdly, Ken Oforiatta, who was the finance minister at that time, touched government money without prior approval of Parliament. If you look at the Public Financial Management Act, it is clear that anytime you want to touch the consolidated fund, you need prior approval of Parliament. And so all these people have to be brought to books, either to refund the money or they should be jailed.
All right, Doc, let me let you hold your thoughts there very quickly and also come to Dr. Bomfe on this. Doc, is this another issue that should be devoid of the sensationalism that typically characterizes a lot of the scandals that we see, that we hear of, that we're made privy to?
Again, how did we get here? We as a people must be sober. In 2017, as my brother, the earlier speaker, said, this whole thing started with the president then saying that he had made a personal pledge to God and that he was going to build a cathedral for the country in honor of God. Somehow, he tied it to the 60th independence anniversary celebration of Ghana. It was in that same period that I went to the Supreme Court. And people forget that somebody stood up. It was not, unfortunately, fortunately, I didn't go to the Supreme Court on just the cathedral. The main thrust of my case was captured on page 8 of the 22-page judgment, which was read by the president of the bench on that particular case, Mrs. Sophia Adinyira. In the first paragraph at page 8 says, the plaintiff in this case has turned to this court to seek the interpretation and or enforcement of certain provisions of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana, which turn on the constitutional relationship between the government and religious body in Ghana. So the relationship between the state and religion. So it was not just the cathedral. Government's involvement in Hajj activities. You know the Hajj board is set up by government.
That's right. This is the action you took March 2017.
Yes.
Right.
And judgment came on 23rd January 2019. It's available on the internet. People can go and read. I was disappointed with the attitude of our country. And perhaps my brother will be shocked. The National Chief Imam's outfit contributed to the building of this cathedral. All the churches in Ghana, Catholic Church, Methodist, SDA, Presby,
Pentecost,
all of them contributed. Wait. So including the current president's church. Okay? We all swamped and moved along, forgetting that we were raising issues about constitutionality of the matter. We filed for an injunction to stop the state from going further on to the determination of the matter. The bench, in their wisdom, said that they will not rule on the injunction application, so they will tie it to the conduct of the entire substantive process. Whilst at it, the government went to Parliament in the 2018 budget to request $25 million seed money. Again, I'm giving you a sequence for you to appreciate that some of the issues that we put out, sometimes sensationally, will amount to zilch or zero, because we have all conflicted ourselves in it. Parliament, including my friend Okujeto Ablakwa, when he was making noise about it, they passed the budget, giving the president and the state the seed money to go into that construction. This was after the Supreme Court ignored the evidence we put before them, that though the Attorney General, represented then by the Deputy Attorney General, my good friend, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, that all the government was doing was providing, again, it's in the judgment, that all the government was doing was providing a piece of land and nothing beyond that. And so there was no issue of what we alleged as excessive entanglement of the state in this particular matter. And so there was no need to follow the plea that we were putting, or we had put before the Supreme Court. We had gone ahead to also show that indeed the activities of the Hajj board were such that it was the state that was funding that. We went ahead to say that the National Cathedral was given an office, the trustees were given an office in the Jubilee House.
That's right.
The Supreme Court said it didn't matter. Once we are raising issues about it, they can relocate out of that. It was almost as if the Supreme Court was bent on giving the president a blank check. And that's what happened. And I will tell you, the lawyers do know, the ratio decidendi of this judgment, for me, was not a point of law, but a population argument. What did they say? In paragraph 4 of their judgment at page 17, this is what they say. Are the acts complaint of excessive entanglement by the state in religion and hence unconstitutional? Listen to the answer they gave. Before embarking on this task, we are mindful of the oft-quoted dictum of the Court of Appeal sitting as the Supreme Court in Tufo versus Attorney General 1980, Ghana Law Report 637, that a national constitution, quote, mirrors the history of the people, unquote, that reflect, quote, the basic aspirations of the people, unquote, for which the constitution was enacted. The 2010 Population and Housing Census Summary Report and Final Results gives the statistics of religious affiliation in Ghana as follows. Christianity as the dominant faith at 71.2% of the population, with Islam at 17.6%. At 17.6%, and traditional religion at 5.2%, and only 5.2% reported having no religious affiliation. They are similar, blah, 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 blah. And it talks about historical this. So they make the point that since you have a population of about, and here I want to read that on paragraph 9, page 19. We see rather the government's plan to build a national cathedral and the setting up of the Hajj board as a desire of the state to provide for social cohesion and unity in a country where 88.8% of its population is predominantly Christian and Islamic. So following from to 4 verses Attorney General, which they founded themselves on, that the Constitution is for advances the aspiration of the people and recounts their history and all that. They said that once we are about 88.8% Muslim and Christian, then the state had a right to support. But in this case, my argument before the court was that it is not that the state was supporting, the state was initiating. And as he said, the mosque, the National Mosque, was not built by the state.
That's right.
The National Cathedral in Washington was not built by the American state, even though the state had made provision for the land in their design of 1893 by France, who designed the new city, the new capital of the United States. It was through people like Charles Spurgeon and the Episcopal Church, through private donations, that the National Cathedral was built in Washington. I have visited it.
That distinction is important.
And that National Cathedral doesn't take money from the state.
So initiation versus support.
Thank you. So right from the word go, we had issues with the narrative that accompanied the National Cathedral. But here is the point. Parliament gave endorsement. That's the Supreme Court gave endorsement. Then in 2020, the entire country endorsed it by re-electing President Akufo-Addo, including myself when I went out to campaign for him.
That's a broad scope.
Get it? Now, we had moved beyond the issue of whether or not it was constitutional. And I mean, with my lawyer, Dr. Bassett, the amount of work that was done in prosecuting our case before the Supreme Court was huge. As I said, I traveled to the United States, Washington, to find out. I checked with the cathedral in the UK. I went there. I couldn't go to France, but I checked with my sources there. All the cathedrals there, none of them were built by the state. Private seed money.
And in any case, a lot of them took decades, years and years.
Thank you. When they started the National Cathedral in Washington in the year 1910, I think 1909, it was Theodore Roosevelt's era. The last stone was laid in 1990 by President George H.W. Bush. They took it, and remember, the Parliament, the Congress of the United States, actually enacted a law towards the construction of the National Cathedral, even though private money was used. And they made it clear that it won't be built with the state because America is a secular state, not a Christian state.
We're a secular state.
Yes. So that was my argument, that as a secular state, you don't need to meddle yourself in Islamic and Christian things. But as we see it now, and here is the hypocrisy. There have been communication from government sources that it is going to be turned into a national cultural center.
That has been debunked as of a few days ago.
Hold on. Debunked by who?
The minister in charge of government communications, his explanation is that the 24-hour secretariat received some proposals. This came from a private entity, and he categorically says that government has no desire and has not put that forth as the use of that site.
Okay. So, as we sit here, there is a law that was enacted. I don't know, I'm not sure whether it was through an executive instrument or not, by the previous, regime, the former president, to make the Cathedral project a state thing. And that's how come the board of trustees were set up. So there's a law on that. My caution to the present regime is that the thing is a bit entangled in so many things. If you want to unpack it, you have got to take time. But you see, I'm giving this narrative to raise one fundamental issue: the hypocrisy of Ghanaians and our sensationalism when it comes to core fundamental issues. I remember 2 articles were written in some newspapers attacking me. And when I appeared before the Supreme Court, even my religious status was questioned. I was asked, even though she said it was off the record, the president of the bench, she asked me, and I said, I'm a Bible-believing Christian. Here is the point. Land was given for the construction of the Islamic mosque, not as a gift to the Muslims. It was in compensation for a mosque that was destroyed in the building of the Rollins Park. People don't know this. So the building of this mosque by the Muslims was through their network. As my brother said, there's some Turkish NGO. There were Ghanaian imams and alhajis, that some of whom I know, who sat on the committee that constructed it. I know them personally. My good friend and brother Alhaji Salisu English Mod was one of them. Hajj activities, we spend public funds, but we don't allow Hajj funds to be audited by Auditor General. And there are corruption-related issues or allegations year after year. Even when you read the Holy Quran, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had instructed, if you are not supposed to embark on Hajj with gifted money, if you can raise the money. It's exceptional. My brother is here. If I am wrong, I can be corrected. That these donations, freebies, it's also you are supposed to go with earned money.
The caveat is that if you cannot. Right.
But who are the people we send? Are they people who cannot afford? Or are they people who are sick? Or people who are with disability? Or people who are incapacitated one way or the other? But that is another matter. Again, the state involvement in there, I still hold that we don't need to. And the argument that the Supreme Court made in throwing out my application, even though they appreciated that we had raised very serious constitutional issues, they denied their original jurisdiction to interpret.
And now we're here.
And rather went into enforcement arguments and said that the enforcement issues that I raised were, in their view, not correct because they ignored the facts that we presented before them and accepted the lie that the Attorney General, through the Deputy Attorney General at the time, presented, that all the state was doing was providing 6.32 hectares of land for the process, and that nothing more was going to be done.
Right.
Well, we are here today. I've given this background. This is quite separate from the issues of audit or accountability that is associated with the project. And with the greatest respect to my brother, I have experienced allegations that against me that turned out not to be true. When it comes to money issues, and we are mentioning names, I want us to be very careful. Audits are one step away. In fact, the audited report that is available now is from a privately audit.
That's right.
By the National Cathedral Board of Trustees.
That's right.
So they asked for it.
Indeed.
What about the Auditor General's outfit, who had to wait for President Mahama to ask them to do a forensic audit? Did they have to wait? Don't we find that fundamentally wrong? In any case, when they do their audit, it becomes subject to parliamentary approval. So we can wait. That's why I say not rush.
Right.
Let's hasten slowly.
Right.
But we need to accept as a people that when the alarm bell is sounded or raised and we ignore at the right time, consequences follow. And we must not run away from our responsibility.
Certainly.
When the consequences show up.
Let me bring Dr. Aye into the conversation. Dr. Ramsey, I'll come to you once more. There's been some confusion about the report, management report, and people asking for other parts. Put some clarity on that for us as well, and what is going to be happening next. We know that this forensic auditing, which will be done by the Auditor General's outfit, is currently pending. Has the green light been given? Is it ongoing?
Yes, thank you very much. Before I start, let me correct some few things.
Sure.
Doc said that some churches contributed money, including the President Church and all that. I don't think there's any difficulty with churches individually getting money to support the construction of the National Cathedral. Nobody was against any church, even when we were in opposition. We never opposed the idea of any church in this country supporting the construction of National Cathedral. The churches are private entities. They don't use public funds to operate. And so if they decide that they want to support the National Cathedral, including the President's Church, there's no problem. Our difficulty was with the use of public funds, the meager resources of our country, in a way, a manner that President Kufuor dissipated it. That was the difficulty we had. And so that point must be made clearly, without any difficulty. There were some inconsistencies. We only provide the land, we will give a siege fund. That was the argument. If that was the case, I believe that some concessions would have been made on the side of the opposition at the time. Now we are in government. But we realize that day after day, millions of Ghana cedis, millions of dollars of state funds were injected. Number two, the minority or parliament never took part in any approval of the seed fund for National Cathedral. I checked online. I saw that some 25 million Ghana cedis was disbursed by government as seed fund, but it wasn't an official approval by parliament that the minority took place. We never took part in any official approval of seed fund for the National Cathedral.
Quick question, please.
It is on record.
Quick one. Was there any objections at that time by the minority to the provision of seed money?
Exactly. In fact, the Deputy Minister of Finance at the time, John Kuma, the late Deputy Minister, said that the minority is crying wolf where there is none. John Kuma on the release of seed fund for National Cathedral project. So we expressed our opposition to it. That point must be made clear.
I think that if you say you are correcting, you must be correcting.
Okay, no problem.
I said what I said in the context of parliamentary approval.
Okay.
This was in the budget statement of the year 2018. Mm-hmm. Your people, your side in parliament were part in approving of that budget.
We expressed our opposition.
So you must. No, I'm coming.
The quorum
please.
To pass a bill is 138 members of parliament.
Please. I'm coming. You see, with the greatest respect to you, this is something I followed.
We also followed.
Parliament was not divided on the approval of the 2018 budget. This is what I'm talking about.
That would include everything that was in there.
Exactly. So later on, when they were making noise about it, the issue I raised was that, did you not know that the budget you approved contained that amount of money for it. So if you say you are correcting me, your people raise issues. But I'm saying that was after the fact.
So can I proceed?
Yes, go ahead.
And so the point must be made clear that at the time that approval happened, the numbers we didn't have to oppose it. But we made it clear in
that's what I'm saying.
Let me make my point. Let me make my point. Let me make my point.
They had the budget.
Let me make my point.
Wasn't passed.
You are being unfair to me.
Wait, hold on. No. I'm saying
unfair. You have been unfair to me.
Please. If you had your time.
No, you had your time. I disagree with a lot of things. I disagree with a lot of things.
Dr. Aye, please flow for me.
Let me also make my point.
Please flow for me.
The opposition at the time made it clear that we did not agree with that part of the budget. We did not agree with government putting 25 million Ghana cedi as state fund. But of course, we didn't have the numbers to oppose it. If we had the numbers like we had now, I don't think that 25 million Ghana cedis of state funds would have been.
But
rejected.
on a point of technicality, if we say Parliament has passed, Parliament has passed it.
I don't disagree with
all right.
him. On that, I don't disagree.
Let's make
our numbers would help.
If you have a vote,
Doc, we can't hear you. You got to get closer.
If you have a vote aggregate, that majority versus minority on a vote cast on a matter in Parliament, then you can say one side oppose. When they have consensus approved budget, you can't say you disagree. That's the point.
Right, Doctor. Let's make progress. We only have about 10 minutes to wrap up on this. We can move past the seed money because I don't even think in your estimation you even expected that to go to where it is now. But let's make progress.
The most important thing that the minority at the time opposed it.
All right.
The disbursement of that money.
Let's make progress.
Number two. Look, two things can be established here. That there was no genuine commitment to building the National Cathedral. It was one of the hefty and lofty promises that President Kufuor made on several occasions that he didn't fulfill. Because it does not make sense for you to spend $97 million to dig a hole and some foundational works. The Pokwasi interchange cost 94 million Ghana cedis. It is a 4-tier interchange. But they were able to use $94 million to build it. So it makes no sense, with the greatest of respect, for you to tell us in our faces that $97 million is what have been sunk into constructing that hole. Number two, we have all read the Shrad report. We have all read the Deloitte and Touch report. There is only one conclusion one can glean from that report. That some misappropriation and misapplication of funds have been occasioned as far as the National Cathedral, their audited financial statement and what have you is concerned. We cannot overlook the fact. But you see, the level of propaganda and disinformation in the public must be corrected. And you call that we needed clarity on management letters and what have you. When we say a financial statement, and I've spoken with a lot of financial experts before I got here, what it means is that, for example, your studio, you have written a financial statement that yesterday you bought this microphone at 20 Ghana cedis. The following day you bought another one at 20 Ghana cedis. When you add it up, should it be 40 Ghana cedis? Yes, it is 40 Ghana cedis. The auditor will make sure that you will not state that it is 50 Ghana cedis. And so it prevents misstatements. Indeed, the introductory letter that they attached to the report clearly indicated that they are preventing misstatements. Management letters definitely or precisely mean that you have said it is 40 Ghana cedis, but we have to go and make other checks to establish that indeed what you bought was 40 Ghana cedis. That's the difference.
Right.
And so when you read the report, it states the discrepancies that have been occasioned, the response from the management of the National Cathedral about the discrepancies, and the response of Deloitte also about the said responses. So let me give you an example. first page, one of the pages, titled Inaccuracies in Confirmation Responses. Total consultancy fees paid to David Ajayi. They said that we noted differences with regards to the amount paid to the architect, said David Ajayi and Associates, limited for mobilization and design of National Cathedral project from the confirmation response received from the Office of the President and that of Sir David Ajayi. Mr. Ajayi said that he received 117.9 million Ghana cedis as consultancy fee. The Office of the President said they gave 113 million Ghana cedis. There's a difference of 4.9 million Ghana cedis. So Deloitte and Touch asked the management, why is there a discrepancy? The management said, David Ajayi confirms that total consultancy fee was 130 million. But they did not provide further documentation to explain and show that indeed it was 130 million. So the amount the National Cathedral Secretariat is stating was the consultancy fee is different from what David Ajayi is saying that he received a consultancy fee. And so when the president asks for forensic audit, he wants to know exactly how that 4.9 million discrepancy or how that amount of money was expended, where the money passed.
In fact, financial experts will say that some of the language in this report is euphemistic. In fact, we are unable to reconcile. A lot of that comes up in that report.
They were even diplomatic, and that I think that
audit language.
Yes, but the forensic audit will actually unearth the actual fact. There's another page about the contract amount to Rebadi JV, the company that actually got the contract. The Secretariat says that the contract sum was 261 million Ghana cedis. But the Office of the President says that the contract is 286 million Ghana cedis. In August 2024, there was a progress report. The board said that it is 268 million Ghana cedis. Meanwhile, there was an interim payment certificate submitted by the contractor, and he said that it is 283 million. So depending on who you listen to, there is a different account rendered. In fact, when the question was posed to management to respond to why there's a difference, they said that the management said the contract value as per the executed agreement between the National Cathedral and the board, National Cathedral board and the company was 261. Meanwhile, there have been 4 different, estimation for the contract. So Deloitte said Deloitte has not received any additional information or clarification from the management as to the date of the signing of the audit report. So as at the time they signed the audit report, they did not receive any formal or different explanation, because the explanation that the board or the secretariat was giving could not hold water. You understand the point? So what has happened is that there is clear discrepancy, there is clear irregularity, the stories do not add up, which confirms all the difficulties and the skepticism that we had raised in opposition at the time. One, there was no proper bidding process for that company to even be selected.
It wasn't competitive.
No competitive process. In fact, Shraj said that it was completely opaque. It was one of the reasons why these trusted and revered men of God bolted with their tails in between their legs from the board, because they saw elements of financial and accounting opacities in the way and manner things were done. In your honest opinion, let us be candid. If not because you are an independent arbiter, do you think that what the whole that had been dug in the middle of Accra cost $97 million? When there's a project like Pukwasi that cost 94, University of Ghana Medical Center, they phase 1. This money is almost half of it. And look at how gigantic that edifice looks like. You understand the point? So some questions must be answered. Of course, people have raised questions that we are delaying and all that. But you see, it is a forensic audit that will determine exactly how the differences happened and how or who received those different, who pocketed this amount of money or what have you. And so the call by the president to commission a forensic audit with the help of the Attorney General, the Auditor General, Finance Minister, it is a call in the right direction. As we speak, the president has dissolved the secretariat because the board of trustees is limited by guarantee, so that they are a company. Legal processes must be taken place to completely dissolve it. So we agree with the people of Ghana about their comments and their sentiments. Indeed, that cathedral is the cardinal sign of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government for the last 8 years.
Dr. Aye.
A governance of recklessness, a governance of misplaced priorities, and intransigence. A government that did listen to the people of Ghana. And so President Mahama will take steps to correct it. If we need to search out people to recoup our monies, the president is committed to doing that.
Dr. Aya, thank you for your thoughts. Dr. Ramsey, I give you your final bite on this particular issue. Time check, it is some 8 minutes to the top of the hour, 10 a.m. This is still 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. We're talking National Cathedral and matters arising. I mean, this is probably going to have to be a 10-part series because we started yesterday and there is still a lot of information that you and I need to sink our teeth into. We're told even about some mobile money transactions that were reversed. I mean, some 39 million cities plus, but we're told in that report that only some maybe 700,000 or so was actually received. Dr. Ramsey, I ask again, what should happen? We can spend the rest of the day on 3FM 92.7 going through the litany of issues, even from the inception. And I'm very grateful that I had Doc here to tell us about that court action, what ensued, the fundamental issues that even were in place before now. We've spent 97 million. What could 97 million US dollars do for a country like Ghana?
Yes. Helen, before I talk about that, let me just have a quick bite on Doc's...
It'll have to be just a minute, Doc. I beg of you. We only have 5 minutes.
In the Supreme Court. I'm not surprised that he was treated like that. If you look at the Mo Ibrahim Governance Index from the year 2017 to 2024, you realize that our judicial autonomy declined by 50% due to political influence in our judiciary. And that is why anytime you take a case against the incumbent MPP government then at the Supreme Court, you always lose. Because they had always influenced some superior court judges and put them there for their own parochial agenda. Now, back to the the National Cathedral issue. Yes, we have also seen, my brother, Dr. Aye, gave some highlights on certain findings in there. Let me also state that if you look at the observation 1.7, as at the agreement or the findings between the Nehemiah Group and others and the Cathedral, the National Cathedral Board, you realize that a total of $523,521 was paid on the 9th of March 2021, and that this money was paid without any agreement between the National Cathedral Board and Nehemiah Group, and that there's nothing to justify why Nehemiah Group received such an amount. So again, $523,521 in my village in Wali Wali could have built a chips compound, could have built a school, indeed could have supported farmers so that they can have a decent livelihood. Yet still we go and bury this money in a pit. So we are calling for justice. And to those religious leaders, I say to them that power will put you on a high table, but justice will feed you all the same meal.
Helen, power will put you on a high table,
but justice serves everybody the same meal. In this sense, justice is for all. Justice knows no religion, no position or status of any individual. We want justice to be served. Today, I am happy that the NDC will not be able to propel any excuses because they have the absolute numbers in Parliament to ratify whatever bills that have been passed in regards to the National Cathedral, as Doc reiterated, and that they have the absolute goodwill and the support of the people to ensure that they serve justice on behalf of the people of Ghana to those that have perpetrated acts and committed erroneous crimes against the state. I have seen some accommodation paid by the National Cathedral Board for some board members. And I asked myself,
indeed,
yes, if you are really serving in the interest of God and that you are volunteering your services to the state to ensure that the state has or the country has an edifice to glorify the name of God, do you need your rent to be paid? Don't you have your own place of abode? Why do you have to take monies from the state to rent a whole place? And I'm even hearing that some people even loaned some monies to the board, about 2 million Ghana cedis.
In fact, Dr. Ramsey, like I said, if we were to go through the litany of issues, we'd be here all day. But wrap up for me, please.
Indeed is a practicing Christian. He knows the norms and ethics of the Christianity religion. He should ensure that justice is served on behalf of the people of Ghana.
Thank you for
we have had the worst regime in our Fourth Republic, and it is time to bring all of them, or if not most of them, to books.
Dr. Inusa, Dr. Aye, Dr. Bomfe, what a morning it has been. I wish we had some more time, but I've been counted down. I've only got a minute to wrap up.
My joy is that my brother, in trying to correct what I was saying, was confirming what I said. In fact, the issue I raised are exactly what he's saying. It's about the hypocrisy of us as a people. That all of us supported it.
But
through our churches,
the chief imam's own,
through the Muslim Council. You can check.
I'm not
Gentlemen, I've been counted down.
I think, and I've heard that it is alleged that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was the one that gave the money.
My point is that I maintain that constitutionally, you heard. I'm not talking about what I heard. I'm talking about what the fact is within the records of the Cathedral.
They give.
Nobody is saying that's a problem. When anybody wants to be
There's no problem.
Was it constitutional?
There's nothing wrong.
At this point,
there's no problem.
Can I get a guarantee of a part 2?
With public or state fund? That is the problem.
Can I get, gentlemen,
we're not holding that position.
We held it in
on that note, we park in here for this conversation. Very, very grateful that you could join us this morning on 3FM Sunrise. This conversation will have to have a part 2, a part 3, and a part 4. No problem about that. We'll check on that. All right. My name is Helen Apia Ampofo. On behalf of the rest of the team, thank you so much for joining us this morning. This is not a conversation that we can wrap up just on today, but gentlemen, I am super grateful for your time.
Thank you for having
this morning. Thank you for coming. It's good to see you, Dr. Ramsey. You have been missed. Dr. Aye, thank you so much for coming. We'll talk health next Monday. Dr. Bonfe, a pleasure to meet you. Well, the news at 10 is coming your way. Enyonam Haliga clad in red.